Yo, yo, Zach exposes. Coming again with another transvestigation. And first of all, as you know, I'd like to give all praise to the Most High Yahuwah and to say, long live the King, the only chosen and first begotten, who sitteth on the right hand according to Psalms 110. And he is the King of Kings, or should I say, Melech Melechim, the Lord of Lords, Adon Adonai, and has been the actual real and true descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, a son of Israel. I'm just bringing this trend investigation to you, my people, and just to let everybody know, like, there's no agenda or anything. Like, please, to all the people actually hear my voice, do not get me confused with the rest of the Hebrew Israelites that are worldwide, the true descendants of the 12 tribes, who this actual word, like, it's our history and our present and our future according to prophecy, who may teach doctrines that go contrary to the word that is written down. And like, there's many people who are around the four corners of the earth who are teaching a bunch of nonsense which is not actually scriptural, and they are causing division between the body of the Messiah or Hamashiach. And it's actually like not helping none of us in these last days that we're living in to actually be causing division between ourselves because of the way the truth has been displayed and the way the truth has been laid down. You know, it's like, it's either like our king said, it's either if they're for us, then they can't be against us. So those who are for us, you'll know him, you can test the spirit and sense their actual intentions. According to Hebrews 4, the 12th chapter, you know, you can discern the thoughts of the heart and their intentions of the actual mind. If you are really spiritual and you are actually filled with the Ruach HaKodesh, which in the English language, it translates to the Holy Spirit. So before I start my transvestigation, I'm going to read a couple of scripts as usual, you know, and I'm going to read from the book of Hosea, the fourth chapter, the sixth verse, and it reads on this wise: "My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge." So the way for the enemy, the snake, the serpent, the dragon, whichever sects of life you come from, and how you know the enemy or the devil or Satan, the way he's able to deceive us, like he says in Revelation, he deceived the whole world. He doesn't deceive some of the world. He doesn't deceive many of the world. He deceives the whole world. And the way that it does it, one of his devices that he's able to destroy us if we lack in knowledge. Now, the word knowledge is to word like to know and the word ledge together. So if you come across something that you're really interested in and you want to study it to see if you can get any wisdom out of it, and when you do get wisdom of whatever you've been studying, it then turns to knowledge, and then from knowledge, once you get the knowledge from the wisdom, it becomes understanding. And those are like the fruits of the spirits. Like, we've been taught our whole lives, lies and lies. Like, it's not only me being an actual Israelite and or the Gentiles, like our brothers and sisters in the world. Everybody has been deceived with what we've been taught. It's either before the foundations of the earth you have been chosen to accept the truth, or you just you're a hopeless case, to be honest. And as I carry on, it says, because thou hast rejected knowledge. You know, many people reject the truth because they get into their feelings a lot. And I understand in the world that we live in a time like in this generation that I am born in, never mind the people of old, you know, it's been going on and on. We do, to be honest, reject knowledge because I'm guilty of it as well. And obviously, I've repented of my actual transgressions. And I'm only hoping that you can see my point of view, that, you know, we have to really look into everything that we've been taught and see what is true and what is lies and what is deception, you know, because if we don't, then we will get to the gates like the five wise virgins and the five foolish. You know, the wise had oil, and then when the king returned and the trump was blown, they had oil so they can see where they're going, which really means they had the spirit, the ruach, they had the spirit with them. But the foolish ones were lacking because when they got to the doors, their lamps run out of oil, which mean their spirit was tainted. The spirit had some like parts of it that were unsure. They had parts of it that they were actually unclear about actually what their faith, you know. So it's very important that we get this right, because this is what the Most High says: I will also reject thee, that thou shalt not that thou shalt no priest to me. I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Pardon. So as you understand, like the priests, like in the times of Moshe, at the times of Moses with the law, the priests were the ones who were allowed to go to the holies. And then the high priest, the sons of Aaron, were allowed to go to the holies of holies, where the actual Shekinah glory, the very essence of the Most High, was there. And then they can bring their offerings and their pledges for the sins of the people before the Most High. So what the Most High is telling us, like, I will reject you. He's going to reject us because we rejected knowledge, because we really, how could I explain it? We actually relied on our own knowledge and our own understanding, and not unto the word, unto the scriptures, or we actually relied on our pastors or preachers or teachers or the old theologians or whoever, philosophers or whatever sect that you think they got the truth, and you actually looking to them to teach you the way of righteousness. Because you have done that, the Most High will reject it, because your mind has fell into foolishness, to be honest. And he says that, seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy Elohim. So we have forgotten the law, and you know the law is the 10 commandments that were given to Moses on Mount Sinai. And the 10 commandments stand until this day, and they will stand forever until heaven and earth pass away, but the law shall stand forever. These are the words that our king, our Messiah, spoke at the time of his existence. So he was quoting, not only, it's not this is only the first witness. I've got a second and third witness, because it says in the word, like, a matter should be established by 2 or 3 witnesses. That's in the book of Deuteronomy, the 22nd chapter and the 19th verse, so on. But he also says, I will also forget thy children, which, if you read in Exodus 20, which is where it revises the 10 commandments, and Deuteronomy, the 5th chapter, where it also revises the 10 commandments, it does says on the 3rd commandment that he will visit the iniquity of the fathers to the 3rd and 4th generations of them that hate him. So he's going to visit the iniquity of the fathers to the children, to the 3rd and 4th generation of them that actually hate him, and he will show mercy to thousands of them that that actually love him. So we know, and as you can see, the numbers are thousands, and there's so many people in the world. Like, it's actually kind of mad. Like, our creator is telling us, like, there's only going to be thousands of people that show him love and walk in the correct way. That's why he says straight is the path and narrow is the way that leadeth to righteousness, and only a few will find it. And there's so many people in this world right now, only a few will find it. And this also links to the same scripture that we're reading right now. So it is very important to actually see and how we actually walk to get to the kingdom, because it's not going to be an easy walk in these last days. Things are about to turn up real way crazy all around the world. It doesn't matter where you are or where you posted up and who you be. Like, it doesn't matter, like, because our Elohim is not a respecter of persons. So I can't come say no, I'm alright because I am the actual original Yehudin, which means Jew, or I'm the original Israelite. But if my spirit, which is my heart, my mind, is not on Christ, the Messiah, and I'm not walking correctly, there is no way when I get to the gates, he's going to let me in, because I carry the blood in my veins. And then tell somebody who does not carry the blood in the veins but went in the way and kept it straight, that they can't come in into the kingdom. And this is not what we've been taught in our the Christian churches, I'm afraid. And I'm not trying to ridicule the Christian church, but, like, I've been in the Christian church, like, with my family for a long time and stuff, and until the Most High opened my eyes and ears and my mind spiritually, and had an actual one-to-one revelation, I could now understand exactly why he says that we need to come out to them, my people, because the Most High knows who his people are. There's no point us trying to argue against and debate against each other, wasting time to see who the people are. What we need to do is to get right with the Most High, because at the end of the day, there's not going to be no people at the day of judgment standing next to you. It's going to be you and your Creator explaining what you have done with the time that you've been given. And that's all I've got to say for now. Before I get to this transvestigation, like, please do not. I am no preacher or teacher or anything of that nature, but by the Spirit of the Most High, that I've been given wisdom and knowledge and understanding of many things, and all I can say is thanks. So before I carry on with the transvestigation, let me go to the next part of it, and it reads on this wise. This is the book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 16. Like, we know that Paul, the Benjamite, was in Rome speaking to the Romans, and not only speaking to the Romans, the Gentile, he was speaking to the Israelites that were born in Rome. Like, Paul knew many languages. He knew Greek, he knew the language of the Romans in Italy, and he knew his actually birth tongue, which was Hebrew. So he was bilingual, if you say so. When he was in Rome, he was speaking to the Romans, but not only to the Romans, but all those who believed in the Messiah. And this is what he actually left in record, inspired by the Most High. For I am not ashamed of the gospel of the Messiah, for it is power of Elohim unto salvation to everyone that believeth. So to everybody that believes in the Messiah, this is salvation unto you. Now, before I carry on, I've got the Blue Letter Bible, which is online for anybody who wants to see. It's got the strong concordance where you can check up words that you don't understand in the Hebrew tongue, and it's also got the Greek, because the Bible, as you know, has been translated from the Hebrew to the Greek and onto the Latin. Okay, get this away from here. Now, Why I say this is because we'll go to the word salvation real quick, just so I can bring a quick understanding to what I'm trying to say. Now, the word salvation in the Hebrew tongue, well, it's in English. In the Hebrew tongue, it is pronounced as Yeshua. That's salvation, Yeshua. And Yeshua has been translated into the Greek as Isos, and from the Greek to English as Jesus, which is the Christ. So let me just, it is Yeshua. So that's what salvation means. So every time when we call upon his name, we calling upon salvation unto our own souls. So when people say like, "Oh no, that's not his name. You can't pronounce his name," like I'm like, look, I'm a Hebrew. My name is Zach. My name is Zachariah. So and Zachariah means Yah has remembered. The Most High has remembered. That's what Zechariah means. You can search it up for yourself. So, like, for an instance, why I'm saying this is because people need to get over what you've been taught in Christianity. Like, oh no, if it's not the name of Jesus, then oh no, there's no miracle. No, that's not. This doesn't say show me on the scriptures or in the word of the Most High where it says that. It is not. There is no way, or no place in the scriptures where it says that. What what we can actually come to an agreement is that because of the translations throughout the years, there's nothing wrong to say Jesus Christ. There's nothing wrong with that. But some of the Hebrews would rather say Yahshua, the Hamashiach, which means saint, salvation, the anointed Savior, the anointed of the Most High, who brings us salvation, which is all right. So why I'm bringing this to you, so you have to understand that, so we don't bring bridges between us, because some person grew up knowing, oh no, his name is Jesus the Christ, and the others who have been awakened know that, oh no, his name is Yeshua, the Hamashiach. That's according to his Hebrew tongue, which is, there's nothing wrong with both sides, because like if my name was Juan, which is in the Latin tongue like Juan, which means John, I won't come up to you and call you. I'm like, you're right, Senor John, or you're right, Mr. John. You be like Senor Juan, because that's his name. His name is Juan. Even though we know the translation means John, but that's his name. So it doesn't matter. He knows and we know. So let's not make that a barrier between us. Like for another example, Santiago, which means Saint James. So if I see a Portuguese person and he said, "Oh, my name is Santiago," and I go, "All right, you're right, Saint John. I mean Saint James, pardon." And he would look at me funny to understand what I mean. So let's not make that a barrier though, because it's not at the same time. But it has to be like we have to rectify it. So as the body, because we are the body of Christ, we are the body of Christ at the end of the day. Because as you read the rest of the chapter in Romans 1 verse 16, to the Jew first, and then also the Greek. So first to the Hebrew, to the Yehudim, and also to the Gentile. For therein is the righteousness of Elohim revealed from faith to faith, as it is written, revealed from faith to faith. So it's about your belief and your faith, your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of what is written. The just shall live by faith. That is it. It didn't say the Israelites. It didn't say the Gentiles or whatever the case may. It said that just the ones who are walking in righteousness shall live by faith. For the wrath of Elohim is revealed from Shemayim, which is the Hebrew word for heaven, against all ungodliness and unrighteousness of men who hold the truth in unrighteousness. So in these days that we live in, there will be people who will know the truth, but they will be deceive, very malicious, and they will keep the truth, but rather bring out unrighteousness. Now, verse 19, because that which may be known of Elohim is manifest in them, for Elohim had showed it, and the word is pronounced, and the King's Inlet shewed it unto them. For the invisible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen. As we can see, that's why the sun rises and then the moon shines. The air and the wind blows every day, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. Now, that is a big statement. So that they are without excuse. So, like when you wake up in the morning and you take like you take the first breath, when you realize that you're awake from your sleep, and I don't know, you want to grab a cup of coffee, wash your face, or get ready, have a shower, and you see the sun shining, you can know in your mind, like, this is not by chance. There has to be somebody that is above us that's letting all this happen, because I could have died in my sleep and never woken up like many do. But on the day of judgment, you will not have excuse, because if the Most High says, what can you say? Who do you think had you to wake up on that Saturday morning on the Shabbat and let you go about your business? You can't say, like, you can't start saying like any pagan gods, oh, my mom woke me up, or my alarm for my phone woke me up, or but your alarm did not give you the breath, it did not give you your consciousness to come back after you've been like really dead in your sleep. So you are with excuse. Anyway, let's carry on, but because it goes deep, I do not want to take too much time on this, because that when they know Elohim, they glorified him not as Elohim. And that's the problem. When you understand that no, there is a power that's above us as human beings, and we're not only living in a three-dimensional world, there's also dimensions that we can actually tap into if you are spiritual people. Some rather deny that, oh no, there is a God, you know and I'm not talking like atheists, like many demanding demonization of, pardon me, of religious beliefs will bring out some crazy doctrines, but that's for them. It's not for us anyway to really argue. But as let me carry on. Neither were thankful, so they glorified him not as Elohim. Neither were thankful, but became vain in their imagination. So you get thoughts in your mind that are meaningless, that are worthless. So you are trying to come with a scientific explanation of what actually life and what reality is. And their foolish hearts were darkened. So when your heart goes dark, you give way for the serpent, like it did Eve, to seduce you and manipulate you. And then what happens? Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. They profess themselves to be people of knowledge. They know we've got the answers. We can help you out. If you can't do it for yourself, come to us. We can help you out. But then you are going to the fools. You put in your trust in men. And it says in Proverbs, cursed be the person that puts his trust in men, and change the glory of the uncorruptible Elohim into an image made like to corruptible man. That is powerful. You've changed an image made like to corruptible man, like corruptible. And when you say man, the word for man in Hebrew is Adam. Like Adam is the first son of God that was born, because he did not have no mother, no father. That's my belief. Like I'm not trying to put my beliefs on you on or on anybody. I'm just presenting the truth, and you can accept it or reject it. That is fine. But the image made like unto corruptible man, so they've changed the uncorrupt, like that's what Adam done when he actually took on the sin of what his wife Eve done with the serpent. He took, because Adam was not the one who sinned. At the end of the day, it was Eve who fell to the seduction of the serpent. And then because Adam loved his wife, he thought, I'm going to bear her sin with me. I'm not gonna, because if he didn't, then Eve was going to be the one destroyed, and then Adam will still be in the Garden of Eden, and we will not be dying today as we are, all humanity. So the funny thing is, the word image is put there like it's something that is made in the likeness of another. So anyway, I'll carry on. And to birds, and to four-footed beasts, and creeping things, like we've seen it even in ancient Egypt. Like, not even, we go back an empire before that, like of Nimrod and Semiramis, which was his own mother, you know, and he gave birth, some incest. He gave birth to a son, which was of his own mother. And in Egypt, you can see all the statues, you can see all the paganism. The 300 gods are of the Nephilim, the sons of Anakim, the sons of Ham, which are in the likeness of four-footed beasts. So you can see them with the heads of lions, like the Sphinx, like of jackals, of cats, and all sorts of abominations on this earth, and creeping things. Wherefore, Elohim has, Elohim also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts. So the Most High gave those who are not walking in the right way to uncleanness, like to be unclean, to do things that are not right, abominations, according to the lust of your own heart, or your own mind. So whatever you're thinking in your mind that is right, whatever you're desiring, which is of the flesh, the Most High said, okay, you go for that and see where it takes you, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves. So when you dishonor your own body, you do something that is unnatural. Like, when I say, this is why it brings me to this transvestigation, and to all transvestigations, and to all this Baphomet. This is what the enemy, this is what the devil, this is what he's doing. This is how he deceived the whole world, to make us dishonor our own bodies between our own selves, to do things that are not clean, that are unclean. Why do I say that? You do things that are unnatural. Like, if you see, you'll never see like a lion and another lion get into the state of mating. It'd always be a lion and a lioness, to be, just because it's natural. And this is how the Most High has made it since Adam was created, and all the beasts of the earth were created. But in the hour we live in, like in the days of Noah before the flood came, this is what they gave themselves unto uncleanness, and they dishonored themselves between themselves. So, and it falls along many categories, but I'm just giving an example with sodomy. So who changed the truth of Elohim into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the creator. So the word worship, I can go back to the Strongs, but just for time's sake, I won't. The word worship is to bow, is to follow, is to obey. That's what it means. That's what the word worship means, is to bow, follow, obey, obedience to whatever deity or whatever you actually bow into and obeying to. So if you bow into the creature, which means then the whole world bowed to the devil, then he who created the devil, which is the Most High Yahuwah Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause, Yahuwah Elohim gave them unto vile affections, for even their women did. And understand, this isn't a New Testament, which is actually referring, and Paul is referring to the Torah, because this can be found in the first 5 books of Moses, when the Most High was only dealing with the Israelites, but now he's dealing with the whole world in the New Testament. So He's saying, who changed the truth of Elohim into a lie and worshipped and served the creature more than the creator who blessed them forever. Amen. For this cause Elohim gave them unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into which is against nature. So what does that mean? Lesbianism, when they call it gay, like this pride, like the pride movement that's going on now, you're changing the natural use of a woman to something that is not natural. You see women into bestiality, sleeping with horses, goats, and things like that are actually utterly an abomination, disgusting, even to anybody who's actually got a mind and a conscience that is normal, and you're not caught in this Baphomet system. You can tell like there is something wrong. And then likewise, also the men leaving the natural use of the woman. You see, us men leaving the natural use of women, like leaving like not only adultery, fornication, leaving our wives and leaving our families to go commit fornications in the club, or adultery with somebody else's wife who is already married, that's in the same place as you are. And then also them who turn to sodomy, to turn to be gay, like the natural use of a woman. A woman is something to be cherished in this world, blessed, beautiful, to be loved, that she can actually nurture your children and things can go right. But then they go turn to men, something that is unnatural. And that's why I was saying, like, if you see in the animal kingdom, you'll never see any animal go and sleep with the same sex or mate with the same sex, because they can't mate. You cannot reproduce. If you do that, it's an abomination. You're not mating. You're not gonna produce any offspring. So the humankind, the man is going to die out if you all go the way we're going right now. But it is written, it's prophecy. So what I'm trying to do is bring a bit of understanding at the same time. So let me keep going. And likewise, also men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meat. And it is utterly disgusting that the Most High has to see this. This is why Sodom and Gomorrah went down in flames, and we're living in the days of Sodom and spiritual Egypt. So it won't be long before all this will be up in smoke. But where would you be? This is my concern. I'm not concerned about myself because I have the understanding, and all praise to the Most High, Halal Yahuwah, which is praise the Most High, because I have that understanding and I have the knowledge at this time. So I'm just praying that I am not caught in my sins or in a reprobate mind, because it reads on this wise, and even as they did not like to retain Elohim in their knowledge, Yahuwah or Yahweh gave them over to a reprobate mind to do things which are not convenient, be filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, malignity, and whisperers, backbiters, haters of Elohim, despiteful, proud, boasters, inventors of evil things, disobedient to parents. And that's where I'm going to live. I'm going to leave it right there, because this is exactly what we're living. All what Paul wrote when he was speaking to the Romans is the days that we're living in. This isn't the days of Paul. These are thousands of years ago. After the Messiah was crucified, his blood was shed, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit, the Holy Spirit came down. We were baptized so we can go in the right way and be led by truth. But at the same time, this was going on then. So imagine now with all the technology. That's all I'm saying. So this is why we see all these transgenders. We see Hollywood. We see all this Baphomet, all these secret societies, and the illuminated ones who claim to have the lights, which is a false light, doing what they're doing now, because the time is very short. This is what I'm trying to get into the mind of the people. So let me keep it moving, my brethren. Now, to the Transvestigation, real quick. I won't spend too much time with that because I've been ranting and raving through the scriptures. But all praise to the Most High, led by the Ruach. This brother right here, is who I'm just going to bring to you real quick. He goes by the name of John Legend. I won't say he's a brother, but really he's a FTM. He's a female, like not only a female, he's a breeder. Now this is his so-called beautiful missus, who clearly has a straight back. As you can see, very long arms. He's got a neck, prominent jaw. You can see the brow ridge. She's got a massive, or he's got a massive. You can see the head is actually massive, and also the cheekbones. And he's got a very feminine soft face. Even with the glasses on, you can see that the estrogen, the hormones, they're working for him. Even them breasts, they look like male pecs, slanted shoulders. That is very female. Whatever's in there, there's nothing in there. He's definitely the mother of the children that they gave birth to. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to move through this real quick, real fast, randomly. Like I got a couple of pics, and let's see, what do we have here? But it is what it is. There's not much that we can actually say, but what we can do is just stay in the way of the truth. That's all I say. She look, it's like Khloe Kardashian, but it's not. But you can tell that's a tranny as well. You can tell just by the collarbone, the neck, the jawline, the cheeks. Even though the brow bone has been shaved down a little bit, nose job done, very big mouth. That's a male. And there you go. Look at the finger ratio, like the digit ratio of the fingers. You can see that the pointy finger or the index finger is longer than the ring finger by far. Even though he's got work done to make his jaw look, he's got a feminine face, no brow ridge, small beady looking eyes, a small nose, very small mouth. The neck, there's no neck there, small arms. We can really tell. So like I could really end the transvestigation here, but it would not be fair because we have to bring the evidence out first before we make a judgment. So we know that our judgment is true and correct. Right. Sorry for the minute of pause. I'm just waiting. Right. There we go. In this picture, you can tell that he's got the Q angle. He's got the feminine posture. And anatomy won't lie. Small arms. Even though the shoulders don't look that slanted over here for some reason, it could be CGI. It doesn't really have a neck. A very feminine look. You know, one foot front, one behind, and there's nothing in the area of privacy. And when you see his girl or his wife, I'd say, with the long arms, shoulders bigger than the hips, very strange posture, very big feet that you can tell, even the big head, square jaw, and then demonic looking eyes, that is not a female at all, that is a male. Right, next, let's keep it moving. Some reason I don't know why when I load the pictures my computer takes that long because it really moves real quick, but at times I get suspicious like what's going on because well, parental advisory to this pict, this looks kind of inappropriate for the little for the youngins, but at the same time just to show that with this long, very long arm, the bone very straight from the torso, very long legs, that's not a woman's rear end, I won't even lie. And you can tell by his S-shaped back that female, small T-Rex arms. John Legend is really busted. Let's keep moving. Big head. Prominent bones on the cheeks,